whenever people are addicts, they want other people joining them and getting high, right? It's why peer pressure exists, right? Why is there peer pressure? Because the people who are getting high don't have as much fun if there's someone else in the room who goes, I'm clean and sober. I would never hurt my body that way, right? So all the addicts want everyone to be using, and that makes them feel better about the fact that they're doing it. But if you're a shining, glowing example of health, you make them feel really self-conscious about what they're not doing for themselves. I want to make sure that you are correcting the right problem. So a lot of times when people come to me and they're having a struggle with symptoms or even with something going on emotionally in their life, they often pick the wrong problem to solve. And if you have the wrong problem that you're solving, well, you're not going to get the results, right? And you're not going to get better. You're not going to get healthier, right? So for example, I was just talking to someone who had incredible results. She went on the Goodbye Lupus protocol on her own. And I just saw somebody asking about that. The protocols have been released to the public. You can read it in Goodbye Lupus, Goodbye Autoimmune Disease. You can go to Smoothie Shred. We have it like in the files section of the group. So we released that a long time ago. And following it on her own, she actually became symptom-free from MS. And then she got sick for like physical illness, got off the plan, started eating lots and lots of potatoes, and her symptoms came back. So she didn't mention that at first, though, and she's recently back on plan and not asymptomatic yet, and asked me if the fruit was the problem. But then when I talked to her, no, the problem was you've been off the protocol, and if potatoes would have worked, well, you've tested it. And actually, there was a study done where they looked at starch-based diets for MS for a year, and there was no change, right? So that didn't work. But she was thinking about the fruit and forgetting about the fact that she's been off plan for so long, like her body has to readjust, right? And also, there's other stressors in her life that are much more poignant, right? That are much more important, some emotional stressors. So sometimes our brain will kind of take us to the wrong issue, and you want to make sure that you've got the right issue. I mean, that's something I can help people with. She booked a wellness appointment with me so she could go over it and say, hey, I was symptom-free before. What did I do? How do I get on track, et cetera? So I was able to pinpoint the right problem to help her get back on track. The other one that comes up a lot is when people are feeling unsupported. And maybe some of you have experienced this, that when you decide, I'm going to take good care of myself, I'm going to go on the Goodbye Lupus protocol or the Goodbye Autoimmune Disease protocol, and I'm going to take good care of myself. And then you start getting negative comments from people in your family, right? 2 people this week that I've given this coaching to for wellness appointments, and where both of them reverse their diseases on my program. So you would think that if you were sick with autoimmune disease and you were able to get negative labs and have amazing recovery doing a special diet, that everybody you loved would be just applauding and proud of you and happy. And what did both of them get? You look too skinny, right? One of them, it was really aggressive that her friend was like, oh, don't break a bone walking out the door, as if somehow being slim will cause that. And the other one gets criticism from her family all the time that she's like scary skinny. Now, let me tell you, both of them are not even underweight. Neither of them are as skinny as I am. Neither of them are as skinny as me, right? The one today, 5'6", 125 to 130 pounds. That's not even considered skinny for people who use the outdated and unrealistic BMI scale. But just saying, neither of them actually, if you met them in real life, you'd go, oh, that person looks good. Not like, oh my God, that's a skeleton. So it wasn't even true to begin with. And in both cases, the people who are giving them that feedback are obese and have health problems, diabetes, high blood pressure, etc. So here are people who are overweight and sick, criticizing somebody who just did the impossible. They had the determination and courage and self-worth to take action every day on a difficult way of eating. And they did it and they got healthy. And there was no atta girl. There was no way to go, none of it. And instead just criticism about how they looked. So both people wanted my help on how to get family and friends to be better about it. Maybe they need to teach it better. Maybe they need to explain it better. And both times I said, you're solving the wrong problem. The problem is you're not being respected. And both of them went, oh, whoa, because that's the real issue, right? If you're doing something for yourself, and it's helping you and you're proud of yourself, and somebody just comes in and just disses you and makes you feel bad, it's disrespectful. It's mean, right? Now, why are they doing it? For their own issues, right? Whenever people are addicts, they want other people joining them and getting high, right? It's why peer pressure exists, right? Why is there peer pressure? Because the people who are getting high don't have as much fun if there's someone else in the room who goes, I'm clean and sober. I would never hurt my body that way, right? So all the addicts want everyone to be using, and that makes them feel better about the fact that they're doing it. But if you're a shining, glowing example of health, you make them feel really self-conscious about what they're not doing for themselves. And unconsciously, they turn that into an attack. Because one of the things about humans is people will try to find fault in the person teaching in order to ignore the message. So the one lady we talked about, we kind of laughed about it because the friend who told her not to break a bone, also, when she saw her getting healthy on my program, and she feels good, she's getting healthy, she Googled me to try to see if she could find something bad about me so that she could throw away the whole program, right? If I can find something sus about Dr. G, then I could say that her whole program's a farce, nobody should listen to her, and then I don't have to lose weight and get healthy myself. I'll just keep my weight and my diabetes, right? The worst thing she could find is that I'm a psychiatrist. So she told her friend that, and she laughed. She goes, I know, that's one of the reasons I love her, is that she was a genetic researcher who is a medical doctor trained in primary care who then specializes in the brain. Like, I think that's actually a cool thing about her. Thank you. But I just laughed. I'm like, so what, right? But she was trying to find something wrong with me so she could throw away the message so she wouldn't have to take action because she wants to eat a cheeseburger, right? So the mind is fascinating. And that's why so much of the work I do with people, it's about changing this, because the diet is freaking simple, right? The diet is so simple. Eat these things, don't eat these things, and you will get your health back. And it works and it works and it works. The hard part is getting people to do it, right? So this is powerful. And most people don't even realize consciously why they're unconsciously hurting themselves. And those people who are being mean to you about your weight or whatever they can try to make bad about you, they're unconsciously doing it to protect themselves from having to go through all that hard work to get themselves healthy. So they see someone who reversed multiple sclerosis, one of them, or reversed, rheumatoid arthritis or other diseases, and they're feeling great and they look amazing. They're wearing size 6 or 4 jeans and they're glowing with health. And they're like, she's too skinny. Well, now I don't have to eat salad and smoothies, right? So it's not about you. But the answer is you do not defend the program. You do not defend yourself. You let them know you are being disrespectful and hurtful right now. And let them work on that. Give them the feedback they need. Or say something like, it's really rude to comment on people's weight. I never comment on your obesity. Why do you think it's okay to comment on my weight loss? I actually feel good about my weight. I'm happy with my weight, right? So I call it saying, ow. If somebody says something that hurts you, say, ow, that hurts me. And then give them a chance to have a real conversation with you. That's what changes the behavior. Not you coming with all my books in your arms and like your laptop with the websites. And you're like, look, this is why it's good. We even joked about her bringing her lab tests. Look, I am completely disease-free because I've done all this. Like, none of that's going to work because they're not looking for reasons to believe you. They're looking for reasons to throw away what you're doing because you being healthy makes them feel bad about what they're not doing. So again, my answer is that you need to solve the right problem if you're struggling with wellness. And if you're struggling to figure out what the right problem is, that's when it's a good time to work with someone, whether you have a therapist who helps you with those things, whether you want my insight. I'm pretty good at finding the problem very quickly, right? Thanks to those psychiatry. But I'm really good at helping people identify the right problem to fix. And I want to make sure that you're doing that.